I had the worst semester of my life. My name's Cameron, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I plan on going from an unproductive fool to some sort of productivity master. Before we can implement changes in my life, we have to first identify the problem. My productivity has gotten so bad that I have spent somewhere between 1 to 3 days of doing absolutely nothing. No schoolwork, no important work around the house, just mindless, lazy stuff. And this is a problem because I have relationships, I have jobs, I have school, I have, to take care of myself physically, mentally. And if I'm being unproductive so often, then I have less time to do all those important things. And that's an issue. There are two types of procrastinators. There's the active and the passive. The active procrastinator is the type of person who will procrastinate work by doing other important stuff. A good example of that was me this December. So while I'm studying for my exams, instead of actually, spending a lot of time studying, often I would find myself going outside and doing Christmas lights, which is important, but the issue is I need to study. I had finals coming up, but I procrastinate in that sense. I find myself more of a passive procrastinator, and a passive procrastinator is someone who's going to mindlessly watch things or mindlessly do things that have no productive purpose. This can be the person that sleeps 12 hours a day, which in most cases is unnecessary. Is also going to be a person who just watches YouTube or Netflix mindlessly without any purpose. That's who I am mainly. And that's a problem because it's not like I'm doing productive things. I'm doing nothing productive, just completely mindless stuff. We need to fix that. I'm a big believer that the morning sets the pace for the rest of the day. But before we can talk about the morning, we have to talk about the night before. The night before also sets the pace for the morning. The first thing we have to look into is a sleep schedule. It's very important to have a consistent sleep schedule for two reasons. First reason, an adult is supposed to have about 7 to 8 hours of sleep consistently. If I have a consistent sleep schedule, this will allow me to get that consistent amount of sleep every night so that I have no excuse to go back to bed. Because the biggest excuse is I didn't get enough sleep. The second reason for having a consistent sleep schedule helps you fall asleep faster. And this is because if you go to bed every night at the same time and wake up at the same time, it kind of trains your body to get tired around that certain point and to be awake in the morning at that certain point. So this allows me to fall asleep easier and wake up easier. The other thing I want to implement is reading before I go to bed. There's a few reasons for this. One, I want to improve my dialect. Two, if I'm not going to be reading, I'm going to be on my phone or my laptop. That produces blue light, keeps you awake, makes it harder to fall asleep. Now that we focused on the night before, let's focus on the morning, because the morning is very important. The hardest things is, one, getting out of bed, and two, not going back into bed right after that. It's really easy to just roll over, click snooze on your phone. So I think it's very important to have a physical alarm clock across your room. Two reasons. One, it forces you to actually get out of bed, and two, it keeps you off your phone. Very often I found myself going on my phone and going back into bed and just watching mindless YouTube videos for hours. Again, that completely ruins the pace for the rest of the day. So I want to reduce that as much as possible. So physical alarm clock across the room forcing me to get out of bed. Now we got ourselves out of bed. Let's focus on preventing us from going back into bed. I think there's 3 solid ways to prevent that: coffee, exercise, cold showers. I don't really want to implement coffee into my, daily routine. I'm not much of a coffee drinker, and when I do, it's for the purpose of, keeping myself awake or preventing myself from falling asleep while I'm studying. And if I drink it every day, it reduces the effect of it because your tolerance goes up. I don't want to have that issue. I want coffee to work for me. Second is exercise. In the past, I've used exercise in the morning to wake up, and it is a wonderful way, to get you out of bed and just create a whole bunch of energy that lasts, the rest of the day. But often I found that around 3 or 4 o'clock, I would always end up, being in some type of slump or taking a nap on the couch. And that ruins the momentum for the rest of the day. So I like to work out around 12 to 3. That allows me to get my work done in the morning that I want to get done, take my break, my workout halfway through the day, and then once I start getting that tired feeling from working out, that will be closer to my bedtime. So lastly, cold showers. I don't want to implement this because cold showers suck, but I got rid of the other two options, so I have to. It is good for you though, and it allows you to wake up fast, good for your immune system, it's good for your skin, muscles, so I'm gonna implement that. Okay, so we just figured out our night routine and the wake up routine. Now let's focus on the actual productivity throughout the day. Like I said previously, the morning sets the pace for the rest of the day. So if we want to be productive, I think the morning is the best time to do it. The most important time anyways to do it. Also, in the morning, once you wake up, that's when you have the most energy, because as time goes on, your energy will slowly kind of deplete. So I want to get my most important stuff done within the first couple hours. I'm in school, so that's going to involve schoolwork, but once the summer comes around, that's also going to be, the things that I want to get done, the most important things. So I'm going to implement the first 3 hours of every morning, my heavy duty stuff. It's going to be, mainly schoolwork, or if I need to, to clean up around the house, that's going to be my important stuff to do, because that is going to take the most energy to get done. And it sets the routine off for the rest of the day. The two things that I have trouble with in the past is going to be, one, starting work, like actually jumping into it and doing it. And second is keeping my my attention on the work at hand and not getting distracted. So the first one, the getting started, I've heard of this thing called the 5-minute rule. It's actually really fascinating. It's pretty much a process where you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to do this job, just 5 minutes. And that kind of creates this momentum that, leads you to doing more work. If you've ever trained for running or have had friends who've trained, you've probably heard of the saying, the hardest part is tying your shoes. And this is true. Tying your shoes suck, especially early morning. It's the last thing you want to do. But once you start running and start exercising, it's kind of like this domino effect where now you're feeling awake, you're feeling energized, you're feeling motivated to do it. So you have to kind of force yourself to start in order to get motivation. This is very similar when it comes to studying. I've had times where I forced myself to start studying or do some schoolwork or whatever, and my motivation didn't come until after I started. So the 5-minute rule forces me to start without making the task seem so daunting. When the task is big, you're less likely to want to do it. So by just saying 5 minutes instead of 2 hours, I'm more likely to kind of jump in and say, okay, let's just do it. The second thing is keeping myself focused on the job and not getting distracted. It's really easy to get distracted. Often I had troubles with keeping my desk clear. A messy desk, there's so many distractions around. It's really easy to lose track on what you should be doing. So 3 things I like to implement. 1, clean desk. Showing your clean desk so it's not distracted. 2, having your phone across the room, or at least in a different room. I recommend a different room so that there is no distractions. And if you have a Mac like I do, put that on Do Not Disturb so you're not getting any text messages or notifications for emails while you're trying to get your work done. Have any snacks or water on your desk while you're getting your work done. It's very easy to be, oh, I'm hungry, or oh, I'm thirsty, and get up. And every time you get off your desk and you stop doing your work, 1, you kind of lose that momentum. You're getting yourself out of that zone that you initially were in while you're studying. But 2, you're more likely to sit down on the couch and then you procrastinate. And that was an issue I had. So I'm going to implement having snacks, having the water I need on my desk so that I don't have to leave my chair while studying. Even though everything I listed is going to help me, become more productive and have, reduce the amount of lazy slumps I have, there's also the aspect of having to force myself to do it. There's an aspect of hard work and, persevering the laziness, the unmotivated, kind of cloud that sits over top of me. So I still have to implement that. If you find yourself dealing with some problems that I experience, I hope some of these tips will help you the same way that I think it's going to help me. So thank you very much for watching my video. I plan on posting more videos about my journey to productivity and other tips and tricks that I've learned throughout not only my actual process, but also through the internet and other things I want to implement. If you guys found the video interesting or helpful in any way, don't be afraid to drop a like and hit the subscribe button So other people who are unproductive and lazy like me, who need some help, need some tricks, can find my channel, and hopefully we can all become more productive together.